Hey beautiful souls, David Essery here. I wanted to share a video with you today from the incredible Melchizedek. In fact, very fired up and excited Melchizedek about the energies, and as a call to action really for us to step up and really anchor in this higher version of ourselves that we've been working towards for so long as we move through this incredible gateway in November. I'm going to read the message to you first, then we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail. Beloved souls, it is a time of great action, where decisions are being made that affect the trajectory of this planet. And so it is true that the direction is set. The light shall prevail, and there is no turning back. There are, however, billions of realities converging and diverging as each soul decides the path they wish to walk into the new world. As a bearer of the light, as a way shower, and a sovereign being, it is within your power to direct change within the microcosm and the macrocosm that is reflected in all those around you. As you step through a gateway of unprecedented proportion, you can stand as a guiding light to lead these souls still wavering to the shores of a bountiful ocean of possibilities. In this role, you must be prepared, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically steadfast within your own biosphere. The task I bestow upon you is to prepare yourself and your world for this coming shift. Unify your light. Ignite the flame within and direct it to purify all that stands opposed. In this state you hold tremendous power, one that shall cement the forces of forward motion in a way that naught shall detain it. This is my guidance to you. Yours in divine might, Melchizedek. Thank you, Melchizedek, for that message. It was really fired up when this came through, and I'm feeling a little bit of it now. I don't know if that's coming through as I was reading that then. But he's talking, of course, about the massive shifts we're about to experience in November. You may well be aware that myself and Tim Wild are running a workshop titled Collapsing the Third Dimension. It really is going to be about dissolving the energetic structures that has been supporting all of the essentially negative aspects of our civilization for the last 10,000 years. We're essentially removing the fuel source that has been pushing their regime forward, and that is going to bring massive shifts as we move forward. This really is, as he says in the message, unprecedented. As this happens, though, we are being called to step up, to step into this master version of ourselves that we've been working towards for so long, so that we may be of the highest assistance to all of those around us and to the planet as a whole. He says, it is a time of great action where decisions are being made that affect the trajectory of this planet. Now, if we look back at what we experienced at the solstice in June and the massive frequency jump that we went through up into the 6th dimension, and then the huge awakenings that happened around the Lion's Gate on the 8th of August, this has all been pushing us towards this point. As he says, there are, however, billions of realities converging and diverging as each soul decides the pathway they wish to walk in this new world. Right now, there are billions of people on this planet going through the awakening process at various stages. And one of the most important factors in the early stages of the awakening is to make a decision in that which you want, the world that you want to live in. And at the very early stages of that, you waver in it because, of course, we've got this past, the way that things have always been, and we expect it to be, and we expect it to be in the future. Then the awakening begins, and we start to question everything. And it's a choice, a difficult choice, to embrace the unknown, to move into a world that's so much bigger than we thought it was, and essentially to reject the old paradigm. And right now there are just countless people around this planet going through this process. And we're seeing this in the world reflected around us. The paradigm that we're facing, particularly in the United States with the upcoming election, is showing us a kind of juxtaposition between the old way and the new way. And people are being faced with a literal choice about the world that they want to live in. And of course, we are all masters of our own reality. We manifest our world around us through our thoughts, through our experiences. I say this in pretty much every video. But this means that there are billions of people around this planet, all with their own realities, all kind of crashing into each other. As he says, converging and diverging, all of these different realities as they each try to make their own decision about the world that they want to move into. And this is where Melchizedek is calling us to action. He says, as a bearer of the light, as a way shower and a sovereign being, it is within your power to direct change within the microcosm and the macrocosm. And that is reflected in all those around you. Micro being see if I can get this the right way around, I apologize if I get it wrong. One of them being like the universe as a whole, and one of them being the tiny infinite state, like two complete opposites in the biggest possible sense of the word and the smallest possible sense of the word. We can affect both the world around us and we can affect our own situation within us. We have the ability to control those things, and that all of those things are reflected in the world around us and therefore reflected in other people's worlds as we kind of converge and diverge. He says that as you step through a gateway of unprecedented proportion, you can stand as a guiding light to lead these souls still wavering to the shores of a bountiful ocean of possibilities. The bountiful ocean, of course, being the awakening process and the new world that we're trying to create. By shining your light, by holding your vibration, and by being the physical manifestation of all that we've been working for so long, to purify ourselves, to let go of the shadow self, to hold the light, to remain heart-centered and open and loving, unified and united. This vision for creating a world where we can all come together in unity. By holding this light, you become a way shower for all of those around you. You live as an example of what our world can be for those that are still trying to make those decisions, whether that is consciously or unconsciously, because everyone is awake enough to a point now that they will recognize energy. They will recognize what makes them feel good and what doesn't make them feel good. And if they see something in you, even if they don't know what it is, but they can recognize that positivity, that light within you, they will think to themselves, I want some of that. And that will lead them, as he says, to the shores of a bountiful ocean of possibilities. It will lead them to that positive new life ahead. He says, in this role you must be prepared, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically steadfast within your own biosphere. We've been preparing for this for a very, very long time. And to a certain extent, we have been performing this role the whole way, but we've been so bogged down, I think, with our own journeys throughout this process that it can be difficult to maintain that state, on a regular basis. But he's calling us now to action to prepare ourselves to hold this role. And this is absolutely a physical, mental, and emotional and energetic thing. Physically, we have to be feeling good, and to do that we need to be looking after ourselves. We need to be eating well, we need to be drinking well and plenty of it. We need to be getting good quality supplements. We need to be getting at least some kind of level of light exercise. Mentally, we need to be purifying our thought patterns. We need to release those shadows. We need to be clearing our mental field, dissolving perhaps thought forms that we're picking up from around us or creating ourselves. We need to be thinking purely. Emotionally, we need to be in a good place, confident and strong within ourselves. This is heavily tied, both physical and mental aspects of that. The eating, drinking, sleeping, exercise will all affect our emotional state. And energetically, he said, energetically steadfast within our own biosphere. Biosphere is a term that's usually referred to for the planet as a whole, but it's essentially the kind of the system that provides support for life. We have that very much within ourselves. Our own energy systems support our lives, and they need to be working well for us. We need to be clearing our energies in a good, strong place. And this is, obviously very challenging to do. We've been doing it for a long time. And I think part of what Melchizedek is calling us to in this message is to look at the bigger picture. It's very, very easy to get bogged down in our situation and how rubbish we're feeling or what we're going through, or all of these different things. And I think he's trying to get us to stand tall within ourselves, to recognize our own power, our divinity, our might as controller of our own lives, and to take action, to look after ourselves, show us the love that we deserve, show that our physical bodies the love that it deserves, and give it everything it needs, to really take action to purify our energy. And some of us are brilliant at those things. Some of us are really good at some aspects of that, perhaps not the others. But I think all of us, we want to feel as good as we possibly can, right? No one wants to go through life feeling rubbish. So really, these are the steps to take to get us to that place of feeling good, to really purify ourselves at every level. And, this is something I've mentioned before. I think Tim and I talked about it a little while ago. Sometimes that involves a bit of sacrifice, maybe giving up some of those foods or activities or whatever it is that we know aren't good for us, but we keep doing it anyway. That's unfortunately a challenging part of the path, but it is a part of mastery, about stepping in and loving ourselves enough to let those things go so that we can feel good within ourselves. So Melchizedek says, the task I bestow upon you is to prepare yourself and your world for this coming shift. Unify your light, ignite the flame within, and direct it to purify all that stands opposed. And here he's calling us to action, not just to purify our own energies, but to purify the world around us. Everyone is going through an incredibly intense process at the moment, and we are shedding. I've said this again recently, we're all releasing a lot of energy, and that's going off into the atmosphere, and people are creating thought forms left, right and centre, and other people are picking them up, and energetically it's a little bit of a mess out there. And again, it's part of our role. I said this in my workshop, actually Lord Rusley said this in my workshop last night, Healing the Planetary Timeline. He was talking about that we have a symbiotic relationship with this planet Earth, and she cares for us. She provides all that we need in order to survive on this planet. And likewise, it's part of our responsibility to look after her, both physically and energetically. And he's calling us here to action to assist with that planetary work, to help dissolve the density around us and get our beautiful Mother Earth into the highest state that she can do in order to move through this shift. That really was a big part of the goal of the Healing the Timeline workshop that I did last night, which was an incredible workshop. I'm still vibrating from it. It really was something special. So he says to unify your light. Again, this is something that I've spoken about recently because it keeps on coming back to me. And again, something we did a bit more of last night, calling our light back to us. I shared last week a soul fragments meditation to recall our soul fragments back. Last night we were calling back parts of our energy that have been left around the planet. This theme keeps on coming up, and it's about uniting ourselves, bringing as much of our energy that may have been scattered across the world, across the universe, calling it back to us so that we are more whole. One of the main aspects of the ascension process is to unite the self, to call it back. And we do that through releasing the energies that caused them to detach in the first place. Unifying ourselves raises our vibration. It pushes us further through that ascension and closer to that highest version of ourselves. He says to ignite the flame within and direct it to purify all that stands opposed. Again, recognizing that God self within, becoming one and attuned with that light, and allowing it to spread out into what they like to call as your sphere of influence. I think of it as our spiritual field that can expand anything up to 20 miles or 32 kilometers around us. That is a huge area of energy that we can affect just purely by holding our light. Even if we hide ourselves away in our home and don't want to speak to anyone, we can affect everyone and everything within that radius just by holding the energy. We can purify the world around us. We can send that love, that light from our hearts out to all of those people to be accepted under the Lord of Grace. We have a tremendous amount of power right now. In fact, Melchizedek's next line, in this state you hold a tremendous power, one that shall cement the forces of forward motion in a way that naught shall detain it. If we do this, if enough of us step forward and hold this light and spread it across the world, we will cover a huge, huge area. And it expands. We amplify each other's energy. There is nothing that we can't do. We can clear out the planet to a state that the energy just no longer supports the negative aspects of it, and we will just fly through this gateway. We can hold our own energy so that we are in the highest state possible, so that we can walk through it with our heads held tall, and so that we can assist all of our sisters and brothers that are still at the early phases of this process to walk through it at the highest possible level and to find the highest pathway within it. This is my guidance to you. So Melchizedek ends it. This is his call to action. And so I stand here in action, and inspired by Melchizedek's words, I've decided to run a workshop on November 7th called Unify Your Light, Preparations for the New Age, where we are going to be doing just as Melchizedek has said. We are going to unify our light. We're going to do loads of work to energetically recalibrate our systems, to release the debris that still remains, floats around from everything that we've been actively releasing of late. We are going to unify our energies, calling all the parts back to ourselves that we possibly can do from all across the universe. We are going to anchor the highest light we possibly can from our soul, from our monad, from the God source itself. We are going to raise our vibration so that we can become that beacon of light to assist our sisters and brothers as we move through this gateway. And we are going to do some more planetary work. You know, my workshop last night, we were very much focused on clearing energies through time. In this workshop, we're going to work to clear what's here right now, what's going through this process, this great shift that we've all been going through, and make sure that we can purify this planet as much as possible to assist Mother Earth to move through this gateway at the highest frequency possible. Of course, this workshop on November 7th is going to be running just 5 days before my main workshop with Tim Wild, where we are collapsing the third dimension. So it's really going to be an energetic preparation for that work. I think it's going to be a really beautiful experience, both personally, get ourselves realigned and recalibrated, and on a planetary level as well, as we all come together to support our beautiful planet moving into this beautiful new age that lies ahead. If you'd like to join me for this workshop, I will include the link in the description below, and I would absolutely love to share it with you. However, if not though, Melchizedek's words still hold true. Unify your light, become a beacon for that, so that we can all stand together, united, working to build a better world. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe. I share channel messages, meditations and stuff like that all the time, and we would love to have you as a part of our community. Thank you so much for watching, and sending you lots of love. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.